duo in history. And this is the Patriots' 5th Super Bowl loss. They've performed well enough in the regular season following their Super Bowl losses, but have been unable to get back to the big game the previous 4 times they played and lost. So, Overreaction Monday continues, and this is a big one. Obviously, we've discussed this to a degree, given some sort of the stories that have come out of Foxborough this season. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have played their last game together. Who starts here? Overreaction or no?
Absolute overreaction. Listen, I understand that there have been speculation, there has been people that have wondered, that have asked this aloud, but at every turn that Bill Belichick or Tom Brady has been asked about their future, they've both said unequivocally, I'm coming back next year. And beyond that, like, not only are they coming back, but they look primed to sustain. Tom Brady last night had arguably the best performance of his life. I mean, he was blistering hot yesterday during that game. Over 500 passing yards. The one play at the end of the game is the low error for Brady, but that's just a protection breakdown. To me, complete overreaction.
Yeah, it's an overreaction. And like you said, you know, Tom Brady's alluded to it. He wants to keep playing for years. And why? You know, he should. The way he performed this year, the way he performed in the Super Bowl, and with Coach Belichick, he's what, in his mid-60s? He could, I mean, Marv Levy coached with like 80. So, yep. I mean, he's not out there playing. I just don't see this thing slowing down anytime soon.
Brady has been so vocal about playing into his mid-40s. It's just hard to believe that would suddenly change after a single loss, albeit a loss on the biggest stage, Tim.
Basically, everything he's building toward in terms of his postseason career hinges on him continuing to play. I mean, that's essentially what he's doing in terms of his post-playing career, saying, hey, listen, this TB12 method allows you to play into your 40s without feeling terrible. I mean, it's kind of what he has completely set himself up to do. And as for Belichick, I just think that it's what he wants to be doing. Like, I think that there's no, like, what's he going to do if he's not doing that? I mean, I think for some coaches especially, more so than players, it's hard to walk away because they can't sit still. Like, he can only go visit his daughter's lacrosse team so many times before she's like, listen, you got to leave and go find something else to do.
Some guys are just lifers.
Yes, yeah.
Sure. Well, and I think there was some speculation would he coach elsewhere, but he's under contract in New England. They've built, you know, a dynasty by the true definition of the word. There's just no reason to believe that's ending today or anytime soon, for that matter. How about this? Rob Gronkowski, however, might be a little bit of a different situation. He of course, barely cleared concussion protocol to play in this game. He's had any number of injuries, some of them more serious than others. And he was asked yesterday after the game about his future in football.
I'm definitely going to look at my future, for sure. I'm going to sit down the next couple of weeks and see where I'm at. I'm not ready for these type of questions right now. I mean, I'm just going to sit down, reflect on the season, talk to my teammates. We fought all year long, all the receivers, running backs, linemen. I mean, we put all the work in together. So I'm just going to reflect on the season, proud of the boys, and just see what happens from here.
But you're human. Was it the concussions? Is that kind of a concern to you at this point in your life?
No. We just lost. I mean, I just want to sit back, relax the next couple of weeks, and I really got nothing to say about that right now.
So our statement on Overreaction Monday, the timing is right for Gronk to retire. Not speculating on whether he will, but the timing is right for him to retire, Tim.
Not an overreaction for me. I'd be the last person to say when a guy should or shouldn't hang him up. And whether it's Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, or Rob Gronkowski, the reality of it is that it's a very difficult game to play. And some guys feel differently kind of throughout their career. I mean, you've played 8 years or so like Gronkowski has. You've had a major knee injury. You've had a back injury, multiple back surgeries, multiple forearm injuries. You play with basically a bionic arm. You just came out of concussion protocol. Who knows how he feels? And so if he feels like it's the right time to walk away, then that's not an overreaction for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not an overreaction. I think players more so today than at any point, they've come to grips with their football mortality. They understand with concussions and again, like what Tim said, this man has missed an equivalent of 2 years because of injuries. I mean, those things have a cumulative effect.
That's just the stuff we know about.
Yeah, we don't even know some of the other stuff. You know, this guy, he's talked about how he's taking care of his money, how he only lives off of his, marketing deals, and he saves all of his money from his pro contract. So when you add all these things up, I don't think he's speaking from emotion. I think he's had discussions about this prior to last night, and this is something that's on his mind.
I'm going to say it's an overreaction with the obvious caveat that we are deferential and respectful of his decisions as it pertains to his medical history and the potential of future risks that he might run by playing football going forward. But just look at the performance last night, and in a game that featured a handful of dominant players. I mean, Gronk was just otherworldly last night. Those 2 touchdown catches are basically unguardable. A precision route in the first touchdown, and then an unbelievable effort on that fade from Tom Brady over Ronald Darby. So 28 years old, 2 years left on his current contract, and certainly could be in position for another new contract this offseason. I don't think it's an overreaction to say that if he retired today, he'd be the greatest tight end in terms of physical dominance in league history. But I think there's still plenty more for this player to accomplish going forward.
Are we even talking about this as a great game or a close game without Gronkowski in the second half?
No,
I mean, he
no,
really changed the scope of this game for New England.
Literally went in the half, and Belichick was like, you see that guy over there, 87?
Get the ball
throw him the ball.
Yeah. But to Tim's point, he has taken a beating, literally, and he's in a position where that will continue, and he's a huge guy. He's got a bullseye on his back.
He's got a huge strike zone in the bullseye. You're right. Absolutely.
All right. How about, so to that end, because we know, Gronk, for the sake of this argument, we'll call him a question mark. The Patriots are losing both coordinators to head coaching jobs. Tom Brady will play, but he's getting older. Has the Patriots Super Bowl window closed? Is that an overreaction?
I think this one could be quick. Yes, it's an overreaction. I mean, they're built to last. They've shown that for 17 years now. Brady's still playing at the highest level. Belichick is still there. They've got a pipeline of young talent and a little bit of draft capital this year, plus a healthy cap situation.
This is an overreaction. I look at the Patriots. It's like Tiger Woods back in the day against the field. Every year you're going to bet, go with the Patriots until proven otherwise. When you got a combination of Belichick, Brady, you're in it every year.
Overreaction for me as well. You think about it. They didn't have their best receiver this year. I mean, Julian Edelman was gone. And then they lose their next best receiver, in the Super Bowl. Both of those guys would be back. And so, I think you look at it in terms of losing the coordinators. They've been down that road in the past and survived it.
Listen, the Patriots, despite the loss yesterday, are well established as the elite of the elite. They set the bar in the NFL. They are well on their way. We'll see how long it can continue. But how about the Eagles? I'll say this. This is the beginning of the dynasty in Philadelphia. Is that an overreaction?
I don't think it's an overreaction, and here's why. The core is in place. I mean, this run of success was finished off without Carson Wentz, but again, he's still their best, undisputed best player. And look at the players that are already locked up for the next 3 seasons, which in my mind is basically an eternity in the NFL with how much turnover there is across the league. You've got Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, and Jason Kelsey, 3 outstanding offensive linemen. Zach Ertz, Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, Rodney McLeod, and Malcolm Jenkins, your 2 safeties. Obviously, you've got young players in the pipeline like Derek Barnett and Sidney Jones that were drafted this year. They've got a core of 16 to 18 guys that you can say for the next 3 years, they will be here and they have a chance to be high-level players. To me, I don't think it's an overreaction to say, hey, you know something? This team could be just this is the tip of the iceberg for the Philadelphia Eagles and their sustained success.
And when you just rattle off those names, I mean, the talent level, is tremendous. And again, all of this with not technically, it's your backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an overreaction. I think when we talk about listen, we've seen a lot of teams win one Super Bowl, but to create a dynasty, I mean, we're talking about something on a totally different level. And granted, the Philadelphia Eagles, very talented team. NFC is a very talented conference. It's a very tough conference. I mean, you look at the New Orleans Saints and the draft class that they had that propelled them to the playoffs this year. The Minnesota Vikings. There's a lot of competition in the NFC. I'm not ready to make that statement where, I think that, Philly's well on their way to a dynasty.
Wet blanket.
Listen, when you're talking about a dynasty, you're talking about teams that are winning multiple Super Bowls, and more than just 2. Right. I mean, you're talking about, basically getting a ring for nearly every finger. I mean, that's what you're talking about. And I think that when you look at we can run down the rosters of a lot of teams and be impressed with their talent, but you have to end up getting some good fortune as well. And part of just, kind of how it works out is whether it's, facing Case Keenum in the postseason rather than, Aaron Rodgers in the postseason.
Well, but this
Things
team
like
just won with a backup quarterback.
No, I understand that, but part of it is, some of it comes with some good fortune. When you look at what New England has done, I mean, it's like that to me is a dynasty.
I suppose the first thing is deciding and defining what a dynasty is. And you're right, Tim. That's what the Patriots have been.
Well, I mean,
I don't think
the Saints aren't a dynasty. They
Enjoy it now.
Right.
Enjoy it now. Fine. All right. No team, though, to your point, has repeated as Super Bowl champions since the Patriots won it all in 03 and 04. Now, we talked about Nick Foles earlier. He is the backup quarterback. Carson Wentz will return, so there's already speculation about his future. He was asked about it, as was Doug Peterson.
I knew I couldn't get off this stage without that question. You know what? We're just going to enjoy this moment. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to enjoy it. We're going to get on this plane, go back to Philadelphia. We're going to celebrate with our fans back in Philly. I'm happy for Nick. I'm happy for the team. It's not about one guy, you know. It's about the team, and you know, like I said, we're gonna enjoy these next few days.
I'm not worried about my future right now. There'll be a time and a place to handle all that, but I take a lot of pride in wearing the Philadelphia Eagles jersey, and I just enjoy being here.
I guess so. Who wouldn't? Both Wentz and Foles are affordable next season. Foles signed through 2018 with a cap hit of $7.6 million. As for Wentz, he'll have a scheduled cap hit of $7.3 for 2018. Not all that bad. There are 18 quarterbacks with higher cap hits next season than Foles and Wentz combined. And here's the thing, I think anyway, is that Carson Wentz is coming back, yes, but until a player returns from an injury like he's had and performs, there are always question marks. And to have a quality backup, and clearly he is, like Nick Foles, just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, the expression is you don't know you need insurance until you need insurance. And the Eagles found that out in the realest way this year, and they found that they had the best insurance available. You know, part of the larger contract for Philadelphia this offseason is one of the byproducts of all those good players they have is they have a lot of money already tied up in the cap for 2018. They're going to have to make some difficult decisions. But the reality of the NFL is that one of the most valuable assets on a roster is a rookie that's effective. And if you could trade Nick Foles for maybe a second-round pick or a package built around a second-round pick, you may say, all right, we may have to roll with Nate Sudfeld as our backup quarterback, but we may also be able to acquire a difference maker in a position we are currently thin. It's crazy to think that Nick Foles could go from Super Bowl MVP to potential offseason MVP as a trade chip for Philadelphia, but that might be a reality they have to face.
Nick Foles is an upgrade at a number of different teams. You just look at the spots that are going to be in need of a quarterback, whether it's Buffalo, Cleveland, the Jets, Jacksonville, Minnesota, Arizona, Denver. I mean, guys, Kirk Cousins can only go one spot, right? You know, and then you think about, okay, is he an upgrade over some of these other guys that are made? Is he better than Ryan Tannehill? Would you rather have him in Miami than Ryan Tannehill? There are so many different landing spots where you can look at it and say, you know what, Nick Foles is an upgrade here. And people say, well, you know what, 8 weeks ago he just was a backup that wasn't any good with the Rams. Why do you feel this way about him now? Winning the Super Bowl changes everything for a quarterback, period. It just does. Because everybody's looking for somebody that's good enough to win a Super Bowl with. That's what they're looking for. And Nick Foles just proved it. Yep. And so, I think they're going to get offers. Whether they entertain them or not will be interesting.
Listen, I agree with all of that. I just feel like I don't know if Philadelphia should trade him because of the style of play that Carson Wentz had. I mean, listen, he's a dynamic quarterback. There's no question. But he's a guy. He's a big guy. He also likes to use his legs a lot. And how did he get hurt in the first place? Running, get hit on the knee, tears his ACL. Field, you talked about it. One of the most valuable positions on the team is a backup quarterback. Because first of all, a lot of teams don't even have a starting quarterback, let alone a good, capable backup that can come in and win football games. He has a manageable contract for the Philadelphia Eagles. We don't know how Carson Wentz is going to come back. Outside of Adrian Peterson, who's a machine, this injury takes a while.
I agree. And if you're Nick Foles in a lot of ways, I know he said what he said about Philly, and I'm sure he does love it, but look, you want the opportunity to start. But
one more bite at the apple to get paid, too.
Yeah, of course. But he seems so valuable for the team he's on as well.
He sure does. Keep this date in mind. On the 5th day of the 2018 league year, March 19th, Nick Foles is due a $3 million roster bonus. Philadelphia may say, you know something? If we're going to trade him, it would behoove us to do it before we pay that $3 million in cash to Nick Foles, who's got a base salary of $4 million for next season, because if it happens after that, then the team that's acquiring him is getting a massive discount. $4 million for a starting quarterback for 1 year is just tremendous value.
Well, March 14th, the start of the league year, so that bonus due 5 days. Who's counting? We've got miles to go before then, and much more from Minnesota coming up.
Foles fakes. He steps up. He is going deep, and it is caught by Alshon Jeffrey for a touchdown. What a catch.
That outstanding catch by Alshon Jeffrey, hardly the only one that stood out on Super Sunday. Our standouts ahead right after this.